I want to take you on a tour of what's happening here on site with Time to Build. So exciting about what's happening, lots of activity, lots of mess, but you're going to be able to see what is taking shape. There's so much that we can be thankful for up to this point, but so much to look forward to as well. But let's go on a tour and see what's going on. So here we are standing in what will be the foyer. A much larger foyer than what we had before. We'll have glass doors out here on this side and then opening up into the auditorium here with the chapel wing on the right hand side as you're coming in and the river wing on the left hand side. So lots of light, lots of space, lots of gathering points for us. So this is the view from the chapel wing looking back towards the platform. We're taking this shot really from the back row of what will be the church as we'll experience it. And as you can see, we're on a slight slope here looking forward, which really brings us in. And so the very back row of the church will have a feeling of being close to the front. We want to make sure that everyone feels like they're joining in together and a part of the one community. So in both the chapel wing and also in the river wing, both of these wings will be closed off. You'll be able to have a space for 250 people for other events throughout the week. But also on Sunday, if you're sitting here at the back, you'll be able to see what's happening on the platform. But that'll also be reinforced by some screens, a screen which will be up on the wall immediately above the corner of the chapel wing here and on the river wing as well. So this is the view of the chapel wing looking back towards the back of the wing. You can see here behind me the spaces where we'll have our stained glass windows relocated from the previous chapel. This will be the place where we have a lot of our funeral celebrations, even some wedding celebrations. Be able to see 250 people in this area, and also we'll be able to have access through to the foyer, but also access out to the memorial garden, a memorial walk which we'll have out here as well. And so this will be a close, intimate, sacred space we'll be able to use through the week. So here we are at the back of the river wing, a very similar space to the chapel wing, same sort of capacity, around 250 seats, slightly sloping floor. Again, to give it that sense of intimacy and closeness to what's happening at the front of the auditorium. Just a great space and great views right through to the front of the church. So here we are on the ramp that will give us full access to the platform in the new auditorium. It's going to be so fantastic, particularly for our Crossroads community on Friday, but all through the week. And so every person, no matter their mobility, will be able to have access through the platform. Just a wonderful, wonderful improvement on what we had once before. So here we are. It's very hard to see, I know, but this is the baptismal tank. So this is where we'll be able to celebrate the fact that God transforms lives, where people will enter into the waters of baptism. And so I hope with me you'll be able to have a vision for the future of seeing hundreds, if not thousands of people experiencing and celebrating their new life in Christ in this place. Okay, so here we are standing on the platform. This is a very similar view for you, but as you'll see, it's a much, much different space. So again, we'll have our 400 to 500 seats in what was the auditorium as we had before, with the expanded facilities of both the river and the chapel wing with 250 additional seats, and then an expanded foyer. So quite a wide space, a space where the back row is very close to the front. Just a fantastic environment for which we can celebrate God together. So this is a completely new room at the back of the platform. New rooms, in fact. We have storage rooms, we have rooms where we can store some of our sound, audio, video technology. Also a space here, this large room is where we'll be able to have musicians and others preparing for services on Sunday, but also rehearsal throughout the week, with fantastic views out to the canal. So just some additional spaces we can use both on Sundays and weekends, but also throughout the week, giving us a lot more flexibility and place for preparation for worship and for other celebrations. So again, this is a loading ramp which will mean we'll have access to the platform to bring equipment in, and eventually we'll develop a road which will come around past the hall and around the back of the church, enabling small trucks and cars to be able to bring equipment in and load them and unload them much easier. So at the moment this is a muddy mess, but we're right at the back of the chapel wing here at the moment, and you can see again the places where the stained glass windows will be. But where I'm standing right now will be right in the heart of what will be a beautifully landscaped memorial garden area. It'll be an expanded space, a larger space than what we had before, the previous memorial garden. Beautiful plants and just a place for quiet reflection and also remembering. And you'll have access to the memorial garden both from the courtyard area but also from the chapel wing as well. It'll be a great, beautiful, sacred space. You know, last Sunday in church we had almost 200 children in worship, including just a growing number of small children. And where I'm standing right now is right in the middle of what will be very much an enlarged creche space, almost 3 times the size of our previous creche. It'll have video access through to the worship auditorium so people can see and hear everything that's going on there. It'll open directly out into the courtyard, a very large plate glass window here in this space on my right hand side, so that everyone will be able to see just this vibrant place where children are able to gather with their carers and to learn to grow into faith. So here we are in the old chapel, and this will be our preschool children's space, opening out onto a redeveloped playground area. This is where children, both on Sundays but also through the week with their parents, will be able to gather in a space that's specifically designed for younger children, where they can grow and play and learn together. We'll also have attached to the children's space a parent retreat room to be used on Sundays, but also some children's toilet facilities specifically for younger kids. Again, a place which is specifically designed for younger children, their parents and their carers. So here I am standing right in the middle of what will be our redeveloped courtyard, a courtyard which will be 1.5, almost 2 times the size of our previous courtyard. It'll extend out right to the edge of the existing roundabout with a large canopy overhead which will provide all-weather protection. This will be really one of the features of the new redeveloped site that we'll have when we open in a few months' time. It'll enable up to 1,000 people to gather together after worship out in this space, but also a space which we can use for other events, other celebrations, enabling us to have just a great family time together. So I hope again you get a sense of just how fantastic that's going to be. The facade behind me, the top of that facade behind me will be the lowest point of that all-weather protection. So the canopy will be very, very high, allowing wind and just air movement to happen in this space. So it'll have a light and airy feel, but also will provide that protection from the rain and from the elements as well. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of a sense of what's happening here on site through Time to Build. As you can see, a lot is going on, a lot still to happen, but things are starting to take shape, and it's really exciting to see and have a sense of what things will look like as we come to the conclusion of this project. This is all about building a space for those who are to come. And to those of you who have been on board with this whole process through prayer, through your generosity, through your ideas and through your encouragement, thank you, thank you, thank you. This is not about us, this is about those who are to come. We're building not a monument, but a place for a movement of God to happen. And I am just so excited as I get a sense of what God is going to do in this place and in this space in the future. And I hope you'll join with me in praying and expecting great things of the God who is able to do abundantly more than what we ask for or imagine, according to His power that's at work in us. To God be the glory.